Thank you.
So you got people looking out for you, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Do you remain a proponent of FCS Power Five games? And part B is, do you see them fading away as the landscape of college athletics changes some?
I am a big time proponent of it. I like the games. Obviously you say the gate and that, the guarantee, and that's obviously important to FCS programs, but I think it's great for our guys, to get out there and play in that environment and play against those guys. And, it helps in recruiting, all those types of things. And the second part of your question is, do I think they're going to go away? Yes.
Would you like to offer a time frame there? Because I know you have some scheduled here for the next few years anyhow.
We got contracts, I think, for a while. So if it goes away next year, we'll feel good probably for the next 4 or 5 years. But, I don't want them to go away. I know there's, some of those BCS, FBS coaches, they don't want them to go away. I think they know that Division I college football, which we play at the FCS level, is really important. And, and let's keep everybody healthy, financially and keep plugging along. But, I would say 5 years, maybe. I think something different's going to be on the landscape. But again, that's my personal opinion.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Coach, how quickly did this team get past Villanova on Saturday? And did you want them to move past it that quickly, or would you like that to sting for a little bit?
No, I mean, we talked on Sunday and if you win a game, you got to put it behind you. If you lose a game, you have to put it behind you. I think they realize it's a long season. There's a lot of football games to be played. That was a tough one. It hurts. It hurt on Saturday night. I couldn't sleep. I'm sure a lot of those guys couldn't sleep, thinking and everything goes through your mind trying to figure out what you could have done different in the course of the game to make the outcome different. But I think when we got out there on Sunday, we had put it to bed pretty good. So, and move on. And obviously playing an opponent like Virginia Tech helps you put it away pretty quickly.
What is it about the Hokies? I mean, outside of the fact that they're FBS and ACC, what is it on film with them that jumps out at you initially?
Well, I think the first thing is just team speed. When you play a BCS program, the level of athletes and how well they run all the way across the board. Their quarterback can fly. I mean, I don't think he gets enough credit for how well he runs. But it team speed. I'm sure when we get out there, I think we'll kind of see, size on film. They're playing against probably comparable people, so you can't really tell, size wise. But I think probably their offensive line will be pretty big, I would think, and just based on the numbers. But up front, we got some good size. But I just say it's speed is probably the biggest thing, and how well they can run.
Coach Fuente on Monday was very complimentary of your defensive front, and it's what jumps out at him when he puts on tape of you guys and says that you have ACC caliber athletes on your defense. How much are you going to rely on those guys, all 11 of them on that side of the ball on Saturday? And what can you do to, kind of counteract a team that might be a little bit quicker?
Coach Fuente is a great guy. I think he's just an excellent coach. His job is to pump up his team and make us seem like the Green Bay Packers. It sounds like we are the Green Bay Packers right now, but that's his job. And it's nice of him to be complimentary. We got a good front four, no question about that. So I do like those guys. I think they're good, but I don't think, he's going to come out and say, hey, they look like, 4 FCS players up front. And it's, they're going to, obviously they're going to be complimentary. They're going to make sure their kids don't overlook us. But I mean, we've got good players. We got good players and we're good up front. So I like our guys. We'll see how they hold up and how they match up in this game. It'll be interesting to see.
Coach Huseman, Joe Mancuso runs effectively and has been a good passer usually. Did the rules change in terms of his running from your point of view against a big, fast team like this? Do you try to suggest to him perhaps he runs less?
No, we've suggested that he runs more. We can't. Joe's such a good athlete. He's a good runner. We don't want to run him 25 times. That's not even close. But he needs to run the ball 10 to 12 times in a game. And, I think in Villanova, he may have ran it 4. But, it's not just calling quarterback runs. I think we may have called 1 or 2, but it's scrambles. It's finding a seam when people are covered. Get it. I think he did that against Villanova one time, found a seam, got us a critical first down. There was probably other times when he probably could have took off and tucked it and went. So you figure you call 5 or 4 or 5 designated quarterback run plays, and sometimes maybe on his own read he keeps it, and then find a seam and take off. I guarantee Virginia Tech's guy does that. They had 3rd and 24, and he scrambled for 25 in a big game against, I think might have been against West Virginia. So those plays are backbreakers now. I mean, you got them all covered up. Quarterback takes off and gets 12 on 3rd and 10. Backbreaker. It'll kill you right there. So, in this game will be the same. We kind of anticipate him running it 10, 12 times.
Thank you.
Coach, just to follow up on that, are you a proponent, in maybe not just for this game, but in general, are you a proponent of designating one of your defensive guys as a spy on a quarterback that can do that, or does that not fit into your scheme?
Well, it really doesn't. This guy, he's dangerous. I mean, I think he's an excellent player. He can throw it, and he can run. We just got to make sure that we're better. And we should be like this every week, no matter who the quarterback is. But our pass rush lanes have to be better. They haven't been. And so, we have to make sure that rush lanes are where they need to be. And if he does squeeze out, that we got a linebacker in the vicinity based on coverage. So, we've talked all that through. He's dangerous. And in 3rd and 24, we can't let him go for 25. And so, and matter of fact, I visualize the play in my mind right now. It was against West Virginia. So no, we don't have a guy specifically saying, look for him every snap. It should be within the structure of who's going to be kind of around an open window there, an open running lane. But he's dangerous. We got to make sure that we do a great job.
Coach Huseman, could you assess how A.J. Smith is playing so far, transferring in, and a lot was expected, and he's looked like he's played pretty well.
He's productive. He's playing well, probably, 90% of the time. And maybe it's just being new, but, he's had some critical mistakes, that have kind of, first couple games didn't hurt us, but he's a good player. He makes plays. He's a smart kid. And he's going to get better and better as the season goes on. There's no question in my mind about that. It's important to him. He wants to be good. But he has to, he has to cut down on any mental mistake that mistakes that he makes during the course of a game. And now it's not just him, it's other people too. But he is productive. He's making plays, and we're glad we got him for sure.
Thank you.
Anything else?
And then the last thing is Josiah will play this week. He practiced yesterday and today, so everything got kind of moved forward quicker than we anticipated. It was resolved, and his punishment was missing 2 football games, and he'll be back and playing on Saturday.
Thank you, Coach. See you Saturday.
Thanks, guys. See y'all.
Thank you.
Hey, Jake, John O'Connor here from the Richmond paper. Nice to see you again. Thank you for coming. You have increased your range clearly since your freshman year. You were accurate. You weren't quite as long back then. How have you done that? Is it simply a case of gaining weight or other ways?
Yeah, gaining weight, hitting the weight room. Coach Brinks has done a great job helping me out with that. And then just working on technique a little bit, progressing that way. Just overall getting bigger, stronger, faster, and then just a little bit of technique in there.
And what would you say your range is in general now, a field goal wise?
For field goal, for example, like Villanova game, we had a 3rd down and it was looking like a mid 55, 56-yard field goal, and we were ready to go for that. So on a nice, good day, no wind, mid to high 50s.
And then 2 years ago, 2019, when you first got here, what would you guesstimate it was?
I'd say a little bit similar to that, maybe minus a few, maybe 1 or 2 yards, but field goals have always been a strength for me. Kickoffs, obviously my freshman year, I lacked a little bit of length on those, and I think that was more of a technique thing, but yeah, field goals have always been a good thing for me.
Thank you.
No problem.
Hey, Jake, can you follow up on that on the kickoffs and how much of that is leg and distance? And then Coach Schuseman talks all the time about placement is as important as distance and putting you between the numbers and the sideline as opposed to between the hash marks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, location's extremely important for when we're going to cover the kick. Our coverage has done a great job this year, having guys like Phil O'Connor, Gio Siegler, Tristan Wheeler, and all those guys just running down there, going hard. They've been doing a great job. So just putting the ball in a position where they can do their job helps them out a lot when we're not able to boom it in the end zone.
But how do you feel about booming them in the end zone? I think you what 7 or 8 already, and speak a little more to how that's all come about. I know you already talked about it.
Yeah, just really working on my technique and hitting the ball fat. Freshman year, I struggled like connecting well on the football, and just working on that a lot. Contact, hitting the ball in the right spot, hitting good trajectory, and just hitting fat balls where I'm supposed to be hitting the ball.
Joe Mancuso, John O'Connor here. Could you speak to your approach to running? A, when, and B, how? Obviously, you don't run like a lot of other quarterbacks when you have the ball. You're a more physical runner.
Right. When I mean, our offense is obviously RPO, so it's really just based off our read. So when the read does something, I take off, and so my style of running is to try to make somebody miss. But if they're in a good position, then I'll try to make them miss with a hit or something like that. Where I'm trying to get better at sliding to kind of limit those hits. But I run when I can, and I made a big emphasis this offseason, try to work on my flexibility and speed, and try to utilize that part of my game. So.
Coach Huseman suggested perhaps you were a little shy in the running department against Villanova. Did you see it that way, and would you anticipate an increase?
There were certain situations where I could have taken off, especially on drop back passes, just scrambling and getting those extra couple yards. But for the most part, defenses kind of scheme our RPO offense to where they kind of limit the runs that I take, and so my read will tell me to hand the ball off, and instead of pulling it and making it play with my feet. So I mean, I trust my running backs. I trust offensive line. I think they've done a great job this year running the ball. So I have no problem handing it off, but I also have no problem utilizing my legs. So.
Thank you, Joe.
For both of you guys, I don't know what the pregame rundown is on Saturday yet, but if you guys are out on the field before Tech, any part of you interested in seeing what Enter Sandman is like from field level? And along those lines, how do you get yourselves ready to play in an environment that's called one of the best in college football?
Yeah, I think with it not being my first big game, I think it'll be really cool to see that one being an Enter Sandman. But we played at UVA, we played at Boston College, so we know like the big atmosphere type games. We know how we're gonna feel. I think that's good to get these young guys some experience in that big type atmosphere. But I mean, I think it would be pretty cool. I guess if it's one of the top entrances in all of college football, it's definitely got to be pretty sweet. So it's gonna be a cool experience going up there and playing this team and getting it all.
Yeah, going off of Joe, obviously I only played Boston College my freshman year in 2019, but that was another ACC game. So getting to see what it's like. And then for me and a lot of these guys, visited Virginia Tech a lot in high school and got to see Enter Sandman in that. And it is a crazy atmosphere. So I think a lot of guys are just looking forward to that. And I think that'll hype them up a little bit too.
Joe, John O'Connor here again. When you envision how Richmond hangs in there and gives itself a chance to win Saturday, what do you see?
So I think it's the opposite of the first half of last game. I think we have to possess the ball. We have to be smart with it, limit the turnovers early, and just be able to run. We need to be able to pass. We need to be able to block, catch. We need to do all these different facets of the game and be able to do them excellent. I think that's how we come out of this game on top, and just driving the ball, possessing the ball, keeping it away from their offense, and letting our defense rest. That's how we're going to win this game.
You suggested previously your games against Power 5 people. What changes in these games from your perspective?
I think our mindset has to be ultra clear. I think when we go into these big games, you can't let any of the outside noise affect you. Like, no matter how big the game is, you have to go into it thinking it's another game. You have to get the guys, everybody's got to be bought into that, to the scheme, whatever's going on. So I think just keeping a even keel type mindset throughout the whole game, throughout the whole week of practice, and then going in there and just trusting the coaches, trusting everybody on your side of the ball. And yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Joe, how did you, Coach Huseman suggested that by Sunday evening's practice, you guys had, put Villanova behind you, but it was a tough one. How did you find yourself kind of doing that? I mean, how did you try to get past that one and then get excited about this one?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously a tough one, but you win some and you lose some. I think that the biggest thing is you learn something from losing. And when you watch the film, we have those 10 to 15 plays where we could have done something better. So I think focusing on those 10 to 15 plays and making sure we limit the mistakes in the next game. So, I mean, it was obviously a tough one to swallow, but we moved on to Virginia Tech, and after Virginia Tech, we'll move on to whoever the next opponent is. So that's just how it works, and that's just how it is.
Does it kind of help that it is a big game like this? I mean, if it was a conference game, I know that would be important too, but as you guys have been talking, there's a lot more that comes with playing an FBS game.
I think with losing, you find a little motivation within yourself. No matter who the next opponent is, I feel like we were going to come out with a little chip on our shoulder just because we have lost that previous game. We know what things we can correct, and so correcting those when we go on the field next week and just being assignment sound when we get out there.
Hey, can you reminisce back to your touchdown pass to Connor, his first, and you were looking in a situation where you could have run, and then all of a sudden he was wide open. Could you kind of take me through that play?
Yeah, so we kind of scheme the defense that way. So I'll have a couple of runs, and then maybe we'll hit them with a little jump pass or something. So getting everybody to come in and try to get me on the run and then dumping it over their heads. But it was awesome to see Connor get his first touchdown. Very happy for him. He's worked hard. He's done a lot this offseason, so I was happy to see him get in the end zone.